Hey, I'm back. Come on in. I got water on me. My sound went out. Come on in. Come on in. Let me see. Come on in. Come on in. Like the video. Like the video. Come on in. I had some technical issues on the first live, so I started a new live. Come on in. In the first part of the video, the first live that I was in that had some technical issues, you couldn't hear me, but I was talking about the popular YouTube channel, Queen of Kings, and just everything that's been going on over there and my history of covering that channel and why I no longer react to the content on that channel. Come on in. Let me know you're here. Like the video. Let me know if you follow you watch any content for Queen of Kings or any of the reaction channels, because I was once a reaction channel to that content. I no longer react to that content anymore. So really, I don't know what's going on with that content. I don't know, but from what I'm from what I'm hearing, Rose Miller is still struggling and fighting with the girls on the internet because they got some things they have opinions about what she doing, over at the Miller's house. So come on in. This is the opportunity to talk about anything you want to talk about pertaining to just YouTube. Hey, Brady, what's up? Welcome. Come on in. Like the video. You all like, share, subscribe. I don't think I have subscriber mode on. So you all like, share, subscribe. What's going on? What are you seeing out in these YouTube streets? Thank you, Kimberly. What are you seeing? It's rough out here. I'm seeing a lot of content creators fighting. Y'all, why I'm just now learning about the Island Boys. How many of you all know who the Island Boys are? Thank you, Brady. How many of y'all know who the Island Boys are? Why I just learned about who they are? Like, my husband told me about them, and I'm like, I really could have went on forever without knowing who the heck these guys were. Thank you, Tanisha. It's like the Island Boys. Are y'all familiar with who the Island Boys? Like, I just learned who they are, and they're like huge on TikTok. I think one just got arrested. And so today, I'm just saying I wasn't ready. When I seen them, my first thought was they were white versions of NBA Youngboy or Kodak Black. But I see when I Googled them, they're Cuban. And I was just like, okay. And they got tattoos all over their face, and they're like 24. But let me know, are you all familiar with the Island Boys? Are you familiar with the Island Boys? Do you follow them? Because they have a huge following. They have they have millions of followers, probably between like all the platforms. And they've been out, I think they came out, they said in 2021, and they really got a lot of attention. They're twins. So underneath all the tattoos, they're cute guys, but they're just all tatted up. But they're twins, and they went viral, I guess, because they kissed each other. Like tongue, like you like feeling you boy, girl, whatever, you feeling somebody and you going in. This is what the twin brothers did with one another. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. So that was my introduction to the Island Boys, and I just learned about them today. So I'm like, oh, I really have been removed from what's been going on in social media because they're huge and I'm just now learning about them. Come on in. Thank you all. Like, share, subscribe. Like the video, please. I'm well. How are you, iChum? I'm well. Thank you, Tanisha. You said you like my hair. Thank you, Kimberly. Said you're pretty. Thank you so much. Yes, so today's episode is going to be all things YouTube, celebrity, whatever it is you want to talk about, because I haven't been over here in a while. I've been playing around on my second channel. I have a second channel, Chic Speaks on it. So if you're interested in talking about current events, politics, things like that, you can follow me on that channel. But definitely engage. Let me know your thoughts, whatever you want to talk about. Your favorite content creators. Many people are at odds with one another out here on the internet. Can you all hear me? Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I see the numbers kind of fluctuating, going up and down. So I just want to make sure that, you know, my sound is good and you can hear me. Thank you, Dr. J. So do anyone in here know who the Island Boys are? I need to know, am I the only one who who just learned about them? Excuse me, because like they're out here just doing the absolute most. And one of them, it looks like, just got arrested. I don't know, maybe back in February. I think they got arrested. They had a pew pew on them. I think there was some drugs in the car. So it's all kinds of charges that they're facing. I don't even know if they're out on bail, right? If that went out on bail, because remember, it's two. Dr. J, you say you just learned about them. Like, it's crazy. So like I said, one of them just had a baby. I think the one who didn't go to jail. So I know one name is Alex, and then I can't remember the other one's name, but I think Alex might have went to jail. And then there's the other one who just had a baby boy. They're young, 23. When I learned the background, looks like, you know, their father died when they were young. Their mom raised them as a single mom. And then I think at 18, she kicked them out because they was just getting into trouble. Like these kids, when you talk about, listen, when I talk about CCOT, when I see the Island Boys, I think CCOT. They will blend, they just, listen, CCOT. Y'all don't know what CCOT is. I talk about it a lot on my other channel. But CCOT is a prison in El Salvador. And all the inmates there are of Hispanic descent. And then they're all skinhead, like all their hair is shaved. And then they're tatted up. So it's like the worst of the worst people that go to CCOT in El Salvador. So when I saw the Island Boys, I was like, oh yeah, they fit right on in at CCOT. And the way they rolling in these streets, that's where they're going to wind themselves up at. They're going to end up at CCOT. They Cuban too, so they finna be there with some other people from the Hispanic community. Listen, they finna be seeing uncles and cousins at the CCOT because they're actually out here doing the absolute most things that will land you in CCOT. So I just learned about them today. If you do not know who they are, Google them. You'll know exactly who I'm talking about. You may have seen their content and didn't really pay attention to it. But they give, when I seen them, the first person I thought about was NBA Youngboy because they look like white versions of him. Just how their body, their frames. But then I started to see some Kodak Black. And so I'm like, okay, I think that it's a combination of NBA Youngboy and Kodak Black. But it's definitely some cultural appropriation going on where they're trying to emulate personas of like the black person. But surprise, surprise, a lot of people do it. So it looks like that's basically what they try to do. They just try to act all hard or whatever. And right now, one of them is like facing time. You know, he done got arrested. He got some serious charges. I probably still got it up on my laptop. He's facing some serious charges. So the twins just might get separated. And maybe that's what they need. They may need some time apart. They may need some time apart because they out here doing the absolute most. A lot of it is together, and just one of them has just found himself in just a really tough spot. So again, content creation is going down, you know, on the internet with these content creators. The YouTube sector is my playground. So I see there's a lot of content creators who are kind of going back and forth with one another. On my other video that I had to end, I was talking about the popular YouTube channel Queen of Kings, because it's a popular channel, over 1 million subscribers, and the person behind the Queen of Kings channel brand is named Rose Miller. You know, that's the Queen of the Kings, and then her husband is Brett Miller, and they have 4 beautiful boys. So that's their family. So a lot of people, I know at one point, was reacting to them. I don't react to that channel anymore, so I don't know if it's still a lot of reaction channels out there. But a lot of people are still coming for her, or the ones that I knew that really was coming for her, that it seemed like they're still coming for her, and she's on the internet just spazzing. So even though I've moved around and I've moved past all of that, it seemed like a lot of people haven't, and it's still that same negative energy. When Rainy says, hello, hello, I love your confidence. Thank you so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Like the video, you all. I hope you have a blessed day too. Thank you for tapping in. So with Queen of King content, let me know if you're familiar with that content creator, because they're huge. And I used to follow them very heavy, and I would react, and I have a lot of videos on this channel with me reacting to that content back in 2024 from July through December. So some of you may know me from then, or some of you may have just found me in the algorithm. I haven't been out on this channel in a while, so I have to kind of circulate in the algorithm. But when I was consistently putting out content on this channel, I would get a lot of traction for my reviews on that popular YouTube channel, Queen of Kings. Rose Miller, she's a mother of 4 boys, 3 boys by her first husband, a black man, and then 2 boys by her husband, a black man, and 2 boys by her now white husband. And a lot of people feel like she does a lot of like race baiting, and she makes content centered around that. And then people kind of react to that. And then a lot of people react to just how she parents. So when I would cover her channel, I would talk, I would react from those places of how she, take care of her family, as well as the race baiting. And I would break all of that down. My background is clinical mental health counseling. So I would just talk about just her channel and the psyche behind it. I would talk about mental illness that I would see that she would exhibit, because she has acknowledged that she struggles with anxiety disorder, as well as she believes she may struggle with bipolar disorder, even though at that time she had not been diagnosed, she said, with bipolar disorder. She said her mother had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I'm not going to even argue with her when she talks about struggling with mental illness, because it's very apparent. If you watch her content, probably maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops, you're going to see some things. You're going to see like, yeah, I can see the struggles with anxiety, bipolar disorder. You might even see some PTSD. You're going to see a multitude of mental health disorders. And I would call them all out and talk about the reasons why I say she may likely struggle with named mental health disorders. And mental illness is real. Mental illness is real. And I think with Rose has created her brand centered around the internet. And that means that that's how she makes her money. But what I've come to see with her is that from a mental space, she can't handle the internet. Everyone cannot handle the internet. Everyone's not built for it. People may want to go on the internet, but everyone is not built for the internet, because the internet is a place to where people can just come out here and say and do everything. Just do the absolute most, be the keyboard thug, and say and do things that they would not ordinarily do if they were in the presence of that particular person. So you have to understand that when you are a content creator, you have to understand that people are going to say, and this is not even just for Queen of Kings brand, any content creators who are out there who are going through it, because there's a lot of content creators right now who are going back and forth with one another. In the black sector, that is. I don't follow content creators heavy that don't look like me. So I'm not quite sure as far as like with other communities, if there's the fighting within content creation. But I know just within just the black sector with, people, content creators that look like me, that covers maybe like gossip, um, current events that may be going on in our community. A lot of them are at odds, and it's centered around what he said, what she said, and people wanting to react to it. The way I feel is that everything doesn't deserve a reaction. We have to come to understand, and that's even in our everyday lives, everything does not deserve a reaction. And what happens is that as content creators, we'll put out something, and if someone creates a response video and they react to whatever you said, if you come back and want to react to what they said, you see it's the energy and it's going back and forth. So you're feeding that energy. So guess what? The person who said something about you, who reacted to you, they're going to continue to do it because they have your attention, which means that that equates to clicks and views. That equates to clicks and views. How many of you are familiar with the popular content creator DoorDash? DoorDash became big last year when I was heavy in the reaction sector with doing content centered around Queen of Kings. DoorDash is a content creator. She started out on YouTube. I don't know. She's probably been around maybe about 3-4 years, about as long as I have, maybe a little shorter. And she had a video that went viral. I think it was a video centered around why I don't work, why I will never work a 9-to-5. I think that was a video that made her go viral. But anyway, she went from a channel that was small, like in the low thousands, maybe under 10,000, I believe. And then overnight, it's like now she's maybe at about 75,000. But since she's blew up, on the internet and in particular YouTube, there's a lot of channels that have come about, and some of them have come about because they react to her channel. They react to her. They talk about the opinions they have of her, whether they think she's genuine, whether they think she's a fraud. I personally don't really have an opinion of her, like that, because I don't follow her content, but I know who she is because she comes up in my algorithm. And I believe that sometimes YouTube will push certain content, and you're like, where'd this come from? I never follow this person, and you'll see their content come up in your algorithm a lot. YouTube has the ability to push your content, especially if it's something that they're wanting people to feed into. And unfortunately, a lot of times it's heavy drama. They'll push a lot because they want people to feed into that. It's certain things that they'll push out there in the algorithm. Nonsense, I find that YouTube have no problem pushing the algorithm, pushing the nonsense in the algorithm. No problem at all. Rainy says, you're so amazing. I was just scrolling and found you. Now I'm subscribed. Thank you, one Rainy. So YouTube will push the nonsense. So guess what? People will put out nonsense. They'll center their content around nonsense. So DoorDash now, she has people who have created these videos. A lot of people created content just saying, hey, DoorDash inspired me. And so she's a Black woman. I don't know where she lives, but she's like in her 40, around my age. I'm 44. So she's around like 40 to 42. So people are creating content because they're saying either one, she inspired me to create content, because a lot of her videos are centered around encouraging people to get onto YouTube. A lot of her videos are centered around how you can make money on YouTube, how much money she's made on YouTube. So I never, it wasn't anything that ever grabbed me to had me to follow her. But if I see, I'll see her videos come up. Now, you have those type of people who are saying, hey, I'm starting up a channel. Thank you, DoorDash. You motivated me or whatever. I would say that's probably the majority of the people. Then you have those people who have started up videos centered around talking negatively about her, saying that they feel like she's a fraud, that, she's just lying, whatever. So you have those people as well. And some of those people have really been growing their YouTube channels to a point to where they're even monetized because of their opinions they have of this woman, DoorDash. So now, the content I see that she has coming up is centered around her responding and, you know, to these things that are being said about her by these other new up and coming content creators. So you see, it can be like a vicious cycle to where it's creating, you know, it's bringing attention to the channels for both sides. Her channel, because people want to know, well, who is this person? Who's Dodash? What did she do? What did you say she said? And then there's tension brought to the smaller content creator because they're criticizing the larger content creator. I call it the Rose effect, the Rose Miller effect, meaning that you find a content creator who's getting a lot of, you know, a lot of motion, and then you talk about that content creator. And I may have given some of you who come across this channel and ideas about, you know, things to focus on or to talk about as far as with content on your channels, because that's one way that you can grow your channel. You can grow a channel by reacting to popular channels, or even if it's a single, just one channel, like that is a thing. But here's the thing about if that is how your claim to fame and what you do, it's something that you can kind of get stuck in. It can be a cycle, a vicious cycle, to where now you become known for this one thing, to talking about this one topic. It's almost like an actor, someone in Hollywood becoming typecast, and they're only getting roles about a certain type of roles, like being the funny guy or the funny girl, and they want to maybe become, take on serious roles. I remember Tyler Perry doing a role, and it was a serious role, and that movie didn't even do nothing because people are used to him, dressing up as a woman, being doing the comedic roles. So you get typecast. YouTube content creation can be the same thing. You can get stuck in a box. I experienced that on this channel when I would cover and react to the Queen of Kings content. I became known as someone who reacted to that channel, and I did it in a way that people really enjoyed, because remember, my background is clinical mental health counseling. So I would react to that channel by focusing on the mental health aspect and doing unofficial diagnoses of what I seen was playing out before me with Rose Miller, the woman behind the Queen of Kings YouTube channel, the brand. So I got kind of stuck in that where that's what people only kind of wanted to hear me talk about, even when I wanted to move around and talk about other things. And that's why I just stopped talking about it and created a new brand that's on my second channel. She Speaks on it, where most of those people over there don't know me from that sector of reacting to Queen of Kings. They know me from the new content that I've put out, which is content centered around world news, current events, politics. If you are interested in that sort of thing, definitely follow me over there. That channel is She Speaks on it. And it's a channel that's maybe about 7 months old, but it's growing and it gets a lot of views over there. But I enjoy it because I'm able to just talk about, to me, the things that really matter to your everyday person, whether you're in the USA or Ethiopia or Paris, France, or, Cuba, Canada. It's just real talk about just stuff that people are encountering. This channel, listen, it's everything else. Tonight, I said, hey, let me go live. I hadn't gone live on this channel in a minute. I was seeing, different content creators fighting. Where really on my last video, I had titled it and I had Marlon Wayne's name in the title. I didn't put it on this video, but I saw a clip of Marlon Wayne's. You all know he was in Major Pain. He's one of the many Wayne's brothers. Remember that family brand, the Wayne's? And he was on Club Shay Shay, a podcast that you can watch on YouTube. And he just talked about just the industry. And it was a really good interview. I didn't watch it all, but I watched like an 8-minute clip. And he just talked about how just even with comedians, and right now everyone's so sensitive, and we live in this cancel culture, and everybody just have opinions. And then when you have an opinion, people aren't always here for your opinion. And guess what happens when they're not here for your opinion? They start talking about canceling you. And he said that that's why he just doesn't want to do stand-up comedy, is because people just aren't here for just the realness, the raw. People get in their feelings. Dave Chappelle is like one of probably few comedians who still would get up on a stage and talk his talk and just take whatever, hits that he take as a result of getting on stage and saying what he want to say. Majority of the people out there, they're not willing to risk it all like that and to do that. So they just don't even want to even probably do the stand-up comedy. Definitely check out that interview on Club Shay Shay with Marlon Wayans. He brought up Orlando Brown. How many of you all remember Orlando Brown played in was that movie Major Payne with him? And Shannon brought up, so let's talk Orlando Brown. And Marlon Wayans was like, what? Did he say I touched him? Because Orlando be going around talking. And he said he doesn't talk to Orlando, but, he understands, Orlando, he got a lot going on, and he's somebody that has experienced a lot. And he probably could use somebody to really talk to work through a lot of the, struggles, the emotional, the psychological struggles that he's enduring right now. But what made me chuckle about it is because what he say, he said, I touched him, and I got to thinking like, well, actually, I believe he did say you did. I believe Orlando Brown is on record of saying that, that when he was in the, was doing that movie and things like that, he was experiencing violations, at the hands of adults during that time. And I believe, allegedly, like that, Marlon Wayans was someone who he said that was inappropriate with him. So, yeah, but like I said, check out that interview with Marlon Wayans and Shannon on Club Shay Shay. So on YouTube, just type in Club Shay Shay, Marlon Wayans, and just listen to, what he had to say on there. He talked about, and one thing that he said about the industry as he was talking about like the likes of like Jay-Z, Beyonce, things like that. I guess years ago, it went viral when I guess he talked about how racism back in the 90s, this was like 1990, he had made comments centered around racism. I believe he was saying, I don't know if he was on the side of racism does still exist for the rich, or it does. I'm not quite sure what his stance was on. But in present time, what he's saying is that when the more money, he made us this point, and I'm like, wow, that makes sense. He said, the more money someone who's black, someone who looks like me has in the industry, the more removed they are from people who look like them. I'll repeat. Marlon Wayans said, when you're in the industry, the more money, the more popular you become, the less people you are around that look like you. So I think what he means by when that is happening is that you're becoming more removed from what's really going on in society as it pertains to just the black experience. Because you're now in rooms with people whose bottom line, whose bank account looks like yours. So you're having different type of conversations with them. And so you're less tapped in to what's going on with your regular working class people. And okay, thank you, Foxhole, for that. You said it was Damon Wayans. Yeah, what I was saying, Marlon. Yes, it was Damon. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. So he's saying that you're more you're more tapped in when you're still interacting, like, with the people within your community. The real deal of what's going on. But when you're getting to it and you're making millions, you're now in rooms with other people who's getting to it like you are. So you're seeing things differently. You may not even be seeing things on a level of it's being centered around racism. It's more around classism. You know, like, okay, because I talk about on my other channel a lot. I feel like we're now moving into a direction that's more so centered around classism, socioeconomic status. So I think what Damon is saying is that, yes, when you are getting to the money on that level, your experiences is centered around big bank take little bank versus black and white. And I think the black and white experience comes more so when a lot of these celebrities, when they may get caught up in situations, and that's when you'll hear people say, oh, they were reminded that they're still black. You see what I'm saying? Like, because sometimes you can get it confused and get it twisted that because you're in rooms with other people who money look like yours, but they don't look like you, but they money look like yours. You think you different. You think that, okay, yeah, now you're one of them. Some of people may think, oh, I'm one of them now. I've arrived. I've made it. Until something happens. And then they say, what, you got reminded. You got your black wake-up call that you're still an N-word. And so I can see how a lot of times people will be confused and get it twisted and may think that or try to act like racism isn't a thing because of the rooms that they're in, and they're being invited to certain type of conversations that the working class people aren't invited to. So I thought, that was just in the clip I saw was just like 8.5 minutes. I haven't even watched the entire interview. Get into it. That piece was very good. Foxo says working and lifting, but I watched Chic on her other channel. Thank you so much for tapping in, Foxhole. But yes, let me know. Do you feel like right now with these celebrities are getting many of these celebrities? Hey, Miss V, what's up? Do you all think that a lot of these celebrities today are getting having that black wake up card? Getting their wake up card. Let me rephrase it. Do you think a lot of black people are being reminded today? A lot of black celebrities are being reminded today that, hey, you are black, you are Negro. Roxo said for sure, because I think, let's just say we got P. Diddy, who's locked up right now. He's locked up right now. We'll stop there and focus on him for now. How many other people have we heard about that don't look like him, whose name have come up with centered around inappropriate behaviors, like much of like what he's been accused of? But though it's like they were treated with like kid gloves, like where people didn't really, their brand wasn't just diminished, and it was just like water cooler talk and it didn't go anywhere. So it was almost like they got protected. But then when a black person's name get entered into a chat centered around the same types of activities, then it takes off like wildfire. And it's in heavy conversations and everybody's talking about it. Now the police is coming in and, they're talking about putting charges. I'm just saying, let's talk about it, because I feel like when it comes to people, black people, I'm not going to say brown people, black people, when it comes to us, regardless of what our money look like we don't get the same type of pass that a lot of other people get. Like even with remember Epstein. Remember Epstein had gotten apprehended, and he the one who had, the plane who was taken, he had Epstein Island, and it was alleged that celebrities were going over there, and there's the logs, the flight logs that still have not gotten revealed. We've been waiting to see the official names of them since that man been gone. When did Epstein? He been gone for about 3 years. Gotta go. Thank you, Virtuous Woman, for tapping in. Epstein. We still have not seen the flight logs. To me, I feel like the reason why we have not seen the flight logs is because of the protection. The protection of the people whose names, the people who don't necessarily really look like me, those people who are on there, or even say if there are people on the flight logs that look like me, their status. But I think really the primary protection is for the people who don't look like me. So that is the reason why I believe we have not seen those flight logs. And to be honest, I don't really feel like we will see them. And if we do see them, it will be so long down the line, so far down the line to where many of those people may not even be with us anymore when that day happens. Many of those people may not be with us when that day happens where those flight logs are revealed. So I do feel like when it comes to other races of people, they receive a certain type of protection that people who look like me don't. And it has nothing to do with like Diddy not doing those things or whatever that he's accused of. It's just that he's not receiving the protection like the people who also have maybe been accused, like the other people who may do those same things that are getting protected. What's up, butterflies? You said Jews. Yes, the Jews run the industry. The Jews primarily run the industry. And guess what? They will protect one another. The Jews, because they run the industry, they have the ability to make or break you. It is what it is. And as we see that Kanye, he doesn't have a problem with talking slick about the Jews, which is why we see his brand and things dwindling the way that it is, him taking losses the way that he is, because I'm not going to necessarily say that Kanye be out here just lying and making up stuff. Kanye is just Kanye. He's unapologetically him. And regardless of who you are, he's like, I'm going to talk about it and I'm just going to deal with whatever ramifications from it, whenever or however I have to deal with it. But I'm going to talk my talk. That is, to me, what separates, say, Kanye from a Jay-Z. Kanye is willing to still talk his talk, share his truth, regardless of the ramifications of it. He doesn't care. And the thing about that, when you are in Hollywood and you start to move from a place of not caring, it can become very dangerous, because guess what? You have the people who have money on the line and who would be willing to do things that can just shut you up however they feel like they need to. Whether they tarnish your brand to have you look crazy out here, or you just maybe read headlines and you learn that this person is just no longer in the physical with us, and they're gonna come up with some reason as to maybe how you took yourself out, how you went out on natural causes. Y'all know how it goes. Foxwell says we are not allowed to have access to the same benefits as our fellow citizens. No. And here's the thing, is that you have to understand the rules of the game in whatever industry that you're in. You have to understand. Because, and I talk about it a lot when I do go live on whatever platform I go, I talk about understanding the rules, what the rules are, and knowing when to hold and fold them, knowing when to try to figure out how to live and navigate within that arena, or knowing when to say, you know what, this ain't for me, I have to bow out. Because you have some people who go down bad by being that one to try to change the rules. It's a lot of people to where they don't want to accept, okay, this is the way it is, so they'll try to change it. And those are the ones to where when I see that take place, it more often than not, it doesn't end well for them. When they start to go against the grain. When they start to go against the grain. So sometimes you have to understand when it's time to bow out, and it's not what you do, it's how you do it. But maybe bowing out, and maybe you're not loud with it. You're just saying, you know what? I'm walking away from this because I know what's going on. I've seen things. So I'm going to leave because that's just not what I'm built on. And for the protection of me and my family, loved ones, I'm just going to leave and you're just not going to hear from me. And I think that has happened with a lot of people in the industry when we see, and not hearing a lot from people, is that they've quietly left the room. Because what we've seen is that those people who have been loud, we don't see it work out very well for them. You see financially, they're in financial ruins. To me, the financial ruins is probably going to be maybe their best case scenario, because a lot of them, they're just no longer walking this earth. They're just not here anymore. And then we're having whole think pieces and conversations centered around the reasoning that's been put out to why they're not with us anymore. But do you notice that when a person suddenly get tired and start being more vocal about things, suddenly they're not with us anymore? Or you see a change in their brand, with their popularity, the amount of money that they make. It's not the same. They're not invited to certain events. They're not getting certain brand deals because of them talking. So anyone who wants to be a part of the industry, you have to really think deeply and to think about everything that comes along with it. Because you may be here for the fame, the money, the notoriety, but are you here for all that other stuff? I call it the underground stuff that takes place behind closed doors with the rich, the famous, and the elite. Because what I've come to see is, it's one of those things to where once you see it, that's just like anything. You cannot unsee it. When you know something, you know it. You can't not know it anymore, right? You know it. You've seen it. You're like, oh my God. But I feel like there is so much coming out right now to where we have the advantage of saying, if we want to continue on that path of being a celebrity. Because at this point, it's so out there to where what takes place in that world. So if you're still saying, hey, I still want to be on that level, you kind of know what you're about to get yourself into. So there is no excuse at this point, because it's already out there laid out. It's out there. So if you're still saying, I still want in because I want the money, okay. Because a lot of these people who are now coming out and talking, or say reacting to things like, a Kanye West or whoever, this is someone who, say, back when he got into the industry, these type of conversations weren't being had. So it's almost like, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you did not know really what you were getting yourself into on that level. But today, 2025, you cannot live in that you can't have, you don't get that pass of, well, I didn't know that's how it was. No. Anyone new who's entering into that world, you just was you were just with it. You're like, okay, well, but then guess what? 9 times out of 10, you're going to get into it and you're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't know it was this. Seeing is believing. And I do not believe that we each individually have to experience everything. I think that there's a lot about life that we can learn from the sidelines by watching people experience. And the smart people know that. Smart people know what you have to experience versus what you don't have to experience. And in my humble opinion, I do not feel like you have to experience Hollywood to know that it's grimy, that it can be wicked. You do not have to get in to experience that. There are more than enough people today who are talking about it. There are more than enough people who are talking about it. Even when it comes to even content creation. As I'm moving around and about these YouTube streets, my platforms, both platforms, growing, I'm thinking about things like that. Thinking about, okay, people who may approach me with certain opportunities. What they say, all money ain't good money. That is a real thing. And there are so many people who have compromised themselves for the sake of notoriety, for the sake of money. And then they're in this space and it's just like, OMG. And back to that interview with Damon Wayans on Club Shay Shay. Shannon was like, I'm sure a lot of people looked at you, you know, when you were just at the height of your career out there, just thinking like, what kind of problems this man got? You know, he Damon Wayans. And he described it. He said, it's like a beautiful woman every day being on her period, feeling cramps every day, even though she's beautiful, but she's feeling cramps every day. And I'm like, wow, because what he's saying is just, what you may see on the outside isn't necessarily what's going on the inside. So just because you see somebody and on the outside, they looking like they're getting to it and they just living it up. A lot of times those people are really going through it on the inside. They're struggling. And the more famous you become, you know, I've heard that the bigger problems you have, the more money, the more like everything is just elevated. It's just you deal with it on a higher scale. So he said like he was going through it. Even though he was at the top, like he still was going through it. He said being stand-up comedy, that was therapeutic for him. Now how he, you know, how he manages stress and things, he does a lot of writing. He writes. He said because his mind never shuts off. I can relate to that. I don't know what's that about, you know, creative people, smart people, like, you know, a lot of times you may hear, you may be one of those people to where you're really gifted at what you do, very creative, and you feel like your mind is hard to turn your mind off. It's constantly going. It's constantly going. So he said to keep from going crazy, he writes things out. He says, so Shannon's like, well, what do you mean to keep from going crazy? Because he was like, well, it runs in my family. So he was like, I get all these characters and, you know, from these ideas, because remember, he was in entertainment. So it's centered around creativity, writing scripts and things. And he said, you know, these characters, these things would come into his mind. So he write it out and then he'll call his son and say, hey, can you read this for me? And the son like, yo, like, hell, I'm over here. I don't know if the son really got 6 kids, but he was like, his son was like, listen, I got 6 kids over here, daddy. I can't be stopping and reading all your work all the time. And he'd be like, well, just do it when you can, because he's like, I got to get it out. I got to get it out because I can't keep it in my head. So Shannon was like, okay, well, do you struggle sleeping? He was like, no. He was like, okay, well, how is that if you got all this going on in your head? He was like, well, when you get to my age at 65, I can eat, sleep easy. As soon as my head hit the pillow, I'm out. But what I bring this up to say that we have to figure out ways to manage our stress, because life is heavy. Whether you're rich or poor, life is heavy. It's just that it's a matter of what type of challenges you got. Someone who's rich may not have the challenge of finances being the thing that has them worried. They have the challenge of saying no to certain opportunities or propositions that are made to them. That's the challenge they have. Whereas me and you, we may not have that challenge of telling somebody no, but it's more so centered around making enough money to make ends meet, to put our kids through school, to put food on the table, to provide the basic necessities. So it's different type of, we got working class struggles. Rich people got rich struggles on like who to tell no. How about that? Who to tell no? Whose invitation to decline respectfully? Yeah, no, thank you. Another good interview that I want you all to check out is one with Terrence Howard, whose channel maybe some of you may know. Terrence Howard, the actor, Terrence Howard did an interview. Let me see. Maybe I can figure it out on this content creator. Let me see. What's the name of that content creator? He did a really good interview recently with a content creator, a big YouTube channel. Let me see if I can find it. But Terrence talked about just being in many situations where someone was wanting to take his manhood. Y'all know what that means when I say that? Somebody wanting to take your manhood. And valuetainment. That's the name of the YouTube channel. There was a clip I watched, and again, I haven't watched the full interview. I watched a clip, 6-minute clip, and Terrence Howard talked about Puffy wanting his cookies. So allegedly, this is going off of what Terrence Howard is saying. Puffy wanted his cookies, and he wasn't willing to give them up. He ain't never gave them up to anybody, because he said a man has to hold on to his manhood. And once he bends over and allows for someone to take it, like that it's lost, it's gone forever. It's gone forever, he said. And he's seen far too many people, men in the industry, lose their manhood for opportunities, for money, for fame, for all of that. He's seen that. So he's saying, you know, what happened with Puffy, he was like, Puffy first was like, yo, can you come over to the house? I want you to train me on acting. I want you to be my acting coach. So Terrence like, all right, bet. All right, what time you want me to come through? So he says, you know, I go to his house, and I'm like, all right then, so what we gonna work on? Because I guess he's thinking that, you know, Puffy maybe got some material or something that maybe he has to learn, study, or whatever, and Terrence was going to be the coach. So he's like, I'm there, and I'm like, okay. And he was like, Puffy is just looking at me. He's not trying to work. He's just looking at me. He said this next time he came, you know, Puffy was like, yo, I want to learn about music. I want you to help me, because I think he told Terrence, you know, Terrence is tapped in a lot of things, smart guy. So I think does he play music? Like he's into music as well. So he was like, yo, I want you to come through, and it's going to be on some type of music tip. I want you to train, do whatever pertaining to music. So again, Terrence shows up to his house and ready to do the music thing. And he said Puffy is just like, again, sitting there just looking at him. So only thing I'm thinking is that Puffy was like afraid, he didn't know how to really approach Terrence to let it be known what type of time he was on. So he was hoping that, okay, well, Terrence would just figure it out and pick up what he was dropping. But Terrence really wasn't. He was still kind of in a state of confusion, like, because he had never kicked it with him like that before. So he's like, he's not picking it up. So the next time, you know, Terrence, somebody in Terrence's team, camp was like, yo, Puffy says he wants to just hang out with you. So now work is removed. Remember, the first 2 invites was work related. Music, with acting and music. The third invite was, okay, hey, it was a invitation through a third party to say, hey, ask Terrence, you know, tell Terrence I want to just hang. I want to kick it with him. So the person in Terrence's camp, you know, somebody on his team, manager, whatever, was like, yo, Puffy, he's saying he wants to hang out with you. So Terrence was like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean you want to hang out with me? Like, what does that mean? What does he mean? This is what he's saying to his person in his corner. Like, what does he mean he want to hang out? I've been to his house trying to help him with work, and what does he mean? And then he says, his person in his corner was like, Terrence, that man want to sleep with you. Like, he just kicked it. Because remember, Terrence was just late to the party with trying to figure out what was going on. Because his mind is just not there. And he was like, in his response to, you know, the guy, the person, his friend was just like, oh, all right then, but that ain't finna happen. He said he just cut off all communications with Puffy once he learned that. But he said he has experience where people in the industry, executive, like where they would outright proposition him and he have to respond very masculine, like a man, not a male, and say, just basically let him know it ain't that type of party and just be on defense. And so he's done that multiple times, he said, where he had a harsh reaction to a man propositioning him to want to take his cookies, you know. And he said, yes, it has resulted in him not receiving certain opportunities. But he's had to just work that much harder with just, I think, like, we're creating opportunities and things for himself. But it's rooted in him saying, no, I'm not going to do that. Because he's like, as a man, the only thing you have is your masculinity. And once that is gone, it's gone forever. And he's seen a number of men who have allowed for their cookies to be taken for whatever reason, and they're never the same. They're never the same. And as for women, what he said is that when women do things that has them to compromise themselves, and they're now getting, they got the Oscars, they're getting the acting roles, they got the money. A lot of them, just like with the men, it don't hit the same when you think about what the compromising position you put yourself in order to get it. Think about it. Like what they say sometimes, like when you know that you did it in a way that went against your morale, it don't feel the same when it's time to celebrate for achieving something, because you know what you did to get there, and it's not something you're proud of. So he says there's a lot of people in the industry that's where they are, to where they have these accolades, these trophies, the money, but they not sleeping at night. They're not feeling good because they know what they did to get that said thing. So it hits differently when you had to compromise yourself to get that, and you couldn't walk in your truth to get that accolade. So the question is, how many people do we see today who really can say, hey, I walked in my truth. I didn't compromise myself, my moral compass, to get this win, to get this role, to get this award, to get this recognition, to make this money. Like, how many of them can actually say that is in the industry? I think you have more people who are just regular, everyday working people who can say that they got it in a way to where they didn't compromise themselves. And then a lot of them probably say they did some cutthroat thing. But I do not think that people, working class people, the things that they've done, the compromises that they've made, is anywhere near on the level of those who are part of the elite. Remember, the bigger the problems, the bigger you are, the bigger the propositions, the bigger the problem. Like, everything is big. Like, when you're big, what they say, go big or go home. If you're a big person, big as far as notoriety, everything that you're going to experience is going to be on a grand-esque level. So that makes sense to me. The way Damon Wayans kicked it, as in, hey, a beautiful woman, like a beautiful woman, and having stomach cramps, been on her cycle every day. The question is, would that beautiful woman rather just look average and not look beautiful, and then she can look average and not feel pain every day? Or would she take, feeling the pain every day and still it just to be beautiful? That's the question. That is the question. And I sometimes wonder if a lot of people who are in the industry, if they had it to do all over again, would they have explored other things? Because I'm pretty sure many of them had other gifts and talents. They didn't have to, go down the path of Hollywood. There was other things they could have maybe gone to college. There's things they could have done, but they chose to go the path that they did. I would really like to know if the vast majority, if they had to do it over again, if they would have chosen that, or if they would have taken a different route. And many of the ones who may say that they would have taken a route, I will bet it's centered around the experiences they had at the cost of fame, where they felt like, you know what, I do have a lot of money, but the things that I've seen, the things I've experienced, like it can't be undone. And I live with that every day. So Puffy, his trial, Cinco de Mayo, he has his trial that's coming up over this past year, or since he's been locked up since September. So it hasn't even been a year, but since he's even been locked up, and even before he was locked up, people are coming out sharing their stories talking about their experiences with him. And I've heard a lot of them talk along these lines as I talk about, as far as with the compromising things that took place as a result of just them chasing fame, chasing the money. And many of them, even though they found themselves in these compromising positions, they still didn't wind up with the success that was promised to them. So think about it. Think about all these things that these people may have done on a promise of having a certain level of success. And still to this day, they have never received that level of success. And even if they did receive some type of success, the height of it was only when they were doing those things. They were in those compromising positions. That was the height of it. So once they kind of stopped doing those things, it's like the attention, everything left. The money slowed down. The phone calls stopped. But these people are still living with the memories of what took place. But many of these people made the decision to do these things. So because they made the decision to do these things, we have to then look at it from a legal standpoint. If this person was of age, and this is where it makes a difference as to how old the person was when they did these things for fame and fortune. Were they legal? Because if they were legal and of age, there was no law broken if someone accepted a proposition from someone in the industry on a promise. There's no law broken. There's a moral compass there, but it's not a law broken because it was consenting. But as we near in on this Puffy trial, what you may hear come up in conversation is going to be centered around drugs and things like that. There are going to be there. You'll hear about people saying, "Hey, something was put into, I was given in a substance against my will. I didn't know that something was being put in my drink, something being in the baby oil. Like I wasn't aware that there was something in products that was given to me that altered my thought process." So that's where it's going to come in line. I think that's going to be really the main thing that Puffy and his team is going to have to fight. They're going to have to prove if something was consensual or not. And so the prosecutors on their side, they're going to have the burden of proving that what he was doing, even with people, if it was at an age, a legal age, if they were 18 and older, he is going to have to speak on whether or not, like, that his team is going to have to argue if it was consensual, if they were aware, fully consensual on the things that took place. And there are a lot of people out there who are saying, hey, it wasn't consensual because of, say, substances being involved that they weren't aware of, like something being in their drink that they say they weren't aware of, or this baby oil. Remember last year when his house was raided, there were like thousands of bottles of baby oil confiscated from his properties. And people were like, why you got all this baby oil? And it's alleged that there was something in the baby oil that was altering the functions of the person's body, that once it was getting into their system. So the people they really weren't aware. First of all, if they didn't know something was in it, and then they're having these physical experiences, they're not knowing that their body, they've consumed something that has their body to react in a certain way, that maybe have their mind think in a certain way. They're not knowing. So that's where the argument comes in of whether or not these adults, if what they did was truly consensual. So that's going to be the big piece, I think, that's going to come up with the Diddy trial. And because it's in New York is in a state that allows for cameras in the courtrooms. So unfortunately, we won't really be able to see what's going on in the courtrooms, the things that are being said, like a lot of the trials that take place here in Atlanta, where I'm at. They put everything on. You can watch all the trials. But in New York, from my understanding, they don't allow the cameras in there. So we're not going to really hear everything that's coming out. We'll just have to hear about like people reporting on it like afterwards, news reporters, maybe if some content creators are able to be in the courtroom. So we'll just have to hear someone kind of explain what took place. I wish everywhere just the cameras were allowed in the courtroom so people could see and you can form your opinion based off what's happening. You don't have to rely on third party coming back to tell you what had happened was. I just wish that everything was just transparent and we can just see what's really truly going down in these courtrooms. But yes, May 5th is the last I knew was the official date of Puff Daddy's trial. From what I'm hearing, he may have a good chance of getting off because there are a lot of people who are kind of, I think, backing down. A lot of accusers are kind of going silent. There's attorneys that are moving away from cases. There's dirt coming out. I think the attorney Busby, where I think people are coming out saying that that he lies and he's not truthful with the things that he's been bringing forth to the media as far as like charges that his client, or things that his clients are alleging. So it's getting really messy and it's not looking good for the prosecution side, with a lot of the messiness that's coming out, because a lot of people who have been coming out saying, hey, I'm a victim, this happened to me, this happened to me. There's people who have been really investigating their stories and finding holes in their stories. And it's been coming out that there's people who haven't really been truthful about what exactly has happened to them. And some of these people, a lot of these people, or most of these people, predominantly, most of the people, they've kind of signed up for the activities that was taking place with him. So Puffy's team, that's a win for them, where, with the prosecution's case kind of starting, with falling apart. But we will see, so don't be surprised if he does, get out, and maybe they like, hey, time served. But don't be surprised if he gets out and it's a matter of the prosecution not being able to prove their case, because they're going to need like witnesses. They're going to need people to say, yes, I was there. Yes, that if there's camera footage, yes, that's me. Like I think that they're going to rely on cooperation. They're going to need people to cooperate. I don't know what they have on cameras that that will have them to feel like strongly in their case, to where, well, we have this video footage to show you doing this. But word on the curb is that is looking more favorable for Diddy as far as with him getting off, and the prosecution's case is weakening. Now, the opinion I have pertaining to him, I feel like he's done a lot of bad things, and he does deserve to not be on the streets. I do feel like there are people who are now adults who were violated as children. You hear names thrown out like Justin Bieber, Usher. You hear other artists' names that are thrown out who encountered them as young people. But I don't know if they were minors. Like, for example, the group 112. I don't know exactly how old they were when they encountered him. The group, I think they were called Day One, that male group who talked about their experiences with him. But I feel like if he did engage in inappropriate activities with minors, then that alone should have him off the streets forever, forever, ever. I do believe that. But even with that, the prosecution will need for those said people to cooperate, meaning to go on record and to share their story and to say who victimized them, and if that person was him, to say his name. And the question is, will that happen? Will that happen? Because I have yet to see or hear. You hear people talk about, oh, Usher came out saying this, Bieber came out saying this, but I have not heard myself, and you can let me know in the comments, I have not heard myself from Usher or Justin Bieber with them saying, Puffy did this to me. Do I believe he had inappropriate activities with them? Certainly. Yes, I do. But have I heard them go on record to say Puffy, Sean Combs had inappropriate activities with me? No, I have not heard them say it. So that is necessary if he were to get charged for, these types of things. You need that. You need these people to step up and to speak up. Do I see that happening with those two names with this situation? No. Will those two people, meaning Justin Bieber or Usher, ever say names and speak up? They may. They're still fairly young. They may down the line. But I don't think it'll be during times where, say, when they speak on it, there'll be accountability taking place, for that person who did whatever said thing they alleged that was done to them. I think people are afraid to talk because of all that's on the line if they talk, meaning the loss, the L's that they can take if they talk. Usher is still traveling, he's still working, doing shows. I just saw him, I don't know, a year or two ago in Las Vegas. Like he's still working. If Usher were to go on record and just speak his truth in a way that what I'm talking about, I feel like it would have an impact on his brand. Definitely it would have an impact on his brand. And I don't think that he's ready to deal with that. I think most people aren't ready to deal with that. Especially when they know that they're still out there working. They don't want to deal with that. So they stay away from it. They let the other people do the talking, read between the lines. Almost like, well, you said it, I didn't. Because even with these people, say a Usher and a Justin Bieber, I also have not heard either one of them come out and go on record to say that it didn't happen. They're just not talking. They're just not talking. So a lot of times, in a lot of situations, someone's silence speaks volumes. By them not talking, it's speaking volumes. It's like, okay, because naturally a lot of time when something's negatively, for someone who's big, when something's negatively being said about them, there is going to be maybe a statement made on the behalf of that person, or that person may come out making a statement. They're not going to just let it just go in the airwaves, because it can be, people can view it as your silence saying, okay, there's truth there. And a lot of these people, when it comes to Puffy and these allegations and things that's been said about them, and his name being in the same sentence with them, these people are not denying it. They're not saying anything. Even LeBron James, his name has come up in the sentence with Puffy, but I have not seen him go on record to say, no, I did not participate with whatever said things. He just was quiet. We did see him on record before Puffy got caught up with saying what he said. No, it ain't no party like a Diddy party, but that's it. With all this heinous stuff that's been coming out centered around Puffy, we haven't seen or heard LeBron say, no, that did not happen with me. No, I was not there. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't said anything. So sometimes there's a time to be quiet and be silent, but then sometimes there's a time where you should make a statement. It just depends on how big or how egregious the allegation is. And that's when your PR people kind of come into place, and they let you know, okay, when to respond and when not to respond, right? So it makes a difference on what type of people you have in your team, because no, I do not feel like everything deserves a response, but I feel like some things deserve a response, and you have to understand and use discernment on when it's time to speak up and say, wait a minute, I have to say something. I have to make a statement, or I have to have a statement released on my behalf, because this is now my brand that's being impacted. It's one thing if something's being put out there and it's not impacting your brand. But when it's impacting your brand, then that comes to a time where, okay, you may have to make a statement, and you may say something just one time and one time only. You don't have to keep going back and forth with nobody. So with Puffy, there are a lot of people who have sat silent. Mary J. Blige has been silent. I have yet to hear her make a comment centered around anything pertaining to what's been going on with Puffy. Her name has come up a lot in conversations centered around him and inappropriate behaviors with people. But I've never heard her or seen, where she's made a comment. Has her brand or anything been impacted? I don't know. I can't necessarily say that it has, but I've heard her name a lot. And given that she ran around so closely with him, I think that it would be, I don't think it would be smart for anyone to think that there weren't things that she witnessed that just wasn't appropriate or even lawful. I think she has seen a lot. But I also believe that her being quiet is rooted in her trying to protect herself. I think that's the case for most of the people in the industry who are quiet. They're they're protecting themselves. They're like, listen, yeah, I'm just not gonna say nothing. I'm not still say nothing. That's a lot of people. And even, with those people, their silence is speaking volumes. So it has a lot of people just looking at the industry just with a side eye. I know I've done it for a long time. But as of late, some people are just now becoming woke and hip to the game as to what's really going on out here as it pertains to the industry. They're just now like waking up to it. And it's just like, this been a thing. But, everyone has their moments, their time when they wake up, and their awareness become on a whole nother level. Everyone's entitled to just whatever length of time it takes. It's just about, when you're ready to acknowledge the truth of the matter. And when I'm ready, it's not going to be when you're ready. And that's okay. That's okay. But the goal is that for you to wake up and to acknowledge the real deal of what's going on and to move accordingly. And I think we're in a season right now where a lot of people are doing just that. We're seeing it more. We're hearing more people speak up and be willing to put their truth out. And it's given that a lot of people feel more confident about doing that because Puffy is locked up, and they feel like now they're able to speak their truth, and they are no longer having to live in fear of what will happen to their career or even their lives if they were to speak ill will against this person. I think a lot of people still are sitting silent because they like, hell, he can still get out. Like, they still don't really trust that just because he's locked up that he can't impact their lives. But there's a lot of people that's like, whatever, they got him now. He ain't getting out, so I'm going to talk my talk. So you got people, on both sides. It's people on both sides. The trial, May 5th. I am definitely going to be tapped in to listen to, the things that are being reported as to what's coming out from this trial. Potential outcomes. I don't think that whatever sentence that he gets, if he's found guilty of anything, it's going to be anything super long. I think he may be able to be out probably, if he is found guilty of some things, in less than 10 years. I don't see him getting like any life sentences. Because look, how much time did Bill Cosby do? Remember, Bill Cosby was found guilty. And they ended up letting him out. So what, he was gone for a couple of years. I think might be on something like that, to where he may go away, and it's not going to be it's not going to be anything, I don't feel like R. Kelly, where the type of sentence R. Kelly got, he's not expected to be coming home. Based on when he went away, what his verdict was. You know, he would probably have to have some appeals and things like that, get new trial for his sentence to change. So I do not see R. Kelly coming home. I don't know if he would ever be eligible for parole, but I don't see Puff Daddy's situation being like R. Kelly's. I don't. I just think that the prosecutions, I just don't feel like, just from the little bit that I've been hearing, I don't feel like they have this slam dunk case like, say, the prosecution did when it came to R. Kelly. There were a lot of people who were willing to testify against R. Kelly. I have not been hearing that be the same when it comes to Puffy, where people have been saying, hey, you know, I'm going to testify. What I haven't been seeing, if anything, I've been hearing more so backpedaling from like people who maybe have talked, or those people who have been talking in the past. There's been holes poked in their stories, and suddenly, you know, they've gone away and you're not even hearing their name anymore. You know, there's a lot of that going on. So that's a win for Puffy's team. So I do feel like, you know, he has a strong chance of coming home, because the prosecution, they have to prove their case. The burden is on the prosecution to prove their case. They hold the burden. And right now, it doesn't look like it's a really strong case. I don't know. You all can get in the comments. Let me know how you feel about it. I haven't been tapped into the nuances and the details surrounding, but just from the things that I have seen, or even the headlines, it's more so been things that have more so been favorable for him versus not. You know, to me, it's been more favorable for the defense team versus the prosecution team. So that's how I feel on that. But from my personal opinion, I feel like he's where he needs to be, because I don't find him to be a good person. I feel like he has used and abused a lot of people. And it's just a matter of, will the prosecution be able to prove that? Because I do feel like a lot of bad things have taken place. I do believe a lot of people who've talked about things that have happened to them, but can it be proven? And will these people go on record to say, hey, this happened to me and I'm willing to give my statement, testify? Like, it's that for me. And a lot of times when it comes to that part, people aren't willing to go that extra mile to do that. They're afraid, they're fearful, they just don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. So that's my opinion on that. Like I said, it's a lot going on in the celebrity world, the YouTube streets. I just want to come back on this channel, tap in with you all, try to get circulating the algorithm, because I have been gone for a while. So people have to kind of try to find the content again. They're probably in shock with me even going live, because I haven't even been live on this channel in a little minute. But I wanted to come in and just talk to you all to see, and do a temperature check on how you've been feeling about what's been going on in these YouTube streets, the celebrity world, content creation. So I'm still around. I still have my opinions on things. I just haven't been sharing them on this channel. I've been on my second channel, Chic Speaks on it, sharing my my opinions, and it's pretty much been centered around just world events, politics, things like that. I have a strong, heavy, a lot of opinions, and I've been sharing them on that channel, on Chic Speaks on it. So if you're interested in that type of content, definitely follow me over there. this channel, I've been figuring out kind of where I want to take this channel. Right now, I'm just going to have it as just for all things outside of just politics, just, you know, celebrity news, um, celebrity gossip, content creators, just all the other things, the shenanigans that's going on in the world that people may have opinions of and want to have a conversation about. So that's more so what's going to be what this channel is about. But again, I started this video out talking about Queen of Kings, and from what I've come to hear, that Rose Miller is going through it, and she's still tussling with content creators who are reacting to her content. So I don't know what's going on with her, but everyone, the message that I have to you is protect your peace. Figure out what that looks like for you, what that means for you. And it may mean getting off the internet for a minute, moving around. I still believe that Rose Miller could benefit from tapping into something else outside of content creation to make money. Because, listen, content creation is not for the faint of hearts. And like I said, as you become bigger, you have bigger problems. You have more people to tussle with. And that's what comes along with. And I've heard her say, once she hit 1 million subscribers, her fights just went to a different level when it came to just going at it with people on the internet. She's bigger now, more attention, more views. But I truly feel like she has more control than what she thinks she does. And that control comes from knowing when to respond and when not to respond. Knowing when to take a break, when to back away. Anyone knows me, I will take my breaks in a minute. Like I said, I've even been over here in a minute. I will get my break. I will listen. My mental peace, my mental health, that's first and foremost. I'm going to take care of me. I encourage you all to do the same. Any of you who come across my content, Rose Miller, anybody, take care of you. Do what you need to do to put yourself in the best position mentally and emotionally. Hey, Tanae, what's up? You said, hey, y'all haven't been on here in a few months. What's going on with the Millers now? I don't know, Tanae. I went live and I opened up the live in the chat, allowing for discussion centered around that channel because I no longer react to that channel. But I did learn today that she's still fighting with the people who react to her channel. So the reaction channel, she's still fighting, tussling with them. I'm not sure if it's anything new that it's centered around, but it's given is likely same old reaction channels critiquing her parenting. Critiquing her as a woman, as a wife. And, you know, she's responding emotionally like what we're used to seeing her do. And she's coming off as though she's not in a good place, you know, mentally, emotionally, all of that. So I have not seen any of that myself, but today someone told me that, you know, there was some of her content or something came up in their recommendations. And it was a video that was a recent video that she'd made, and she was talking about reporting channels, I think lawsuits and things like that for against reaction channels because, yeah, she felt like, you know, they was just picking at her. So I don't know the specifics because I haven't been following her or even the reaction channels who cover her. So I don't even have an opinion, really, because I don't know. But what I do know is that Rose has to learn when to not give energy to things that do not serve her. Because she will spend a lifetime tussling. Tanae says, oh, wow, so still the same thing. That's my understanding, but I haven't seen for myself. I don't know if I want to be bold enough to even go over there and see for myself, because I've just moved away from that type of content. It just wasn't good. It wasn't like serving me, wasn't good energy for me. So I talked about back in December when the new year came, I wasn't going to cover that channel anymore, and I stuck to it. And this is my first time talking about her, and it's not even reacting to her channel. It's just, just bringing her channel up, because I just stopped even bringing the channel up. But I only did it tonight just because I know people may have been wondering, what my thoughts or views are pertaining to the Queen of Kings. And then I heard that she looks like she's spiraling, and it has to do with people, the reaction channels. So I'm like, okay, well, let me go live on this channel. Maybe. And I haven't had anyone. I think a lot of people have moved away from that, because even since I've been live for a while, I really haven't had, but I didn't tag Queen of Kings in this video either. So maybe that's too why I haven't had a lot of people come in who watch that content who have opinions, because I didn't tag that channel name in it. I don't know. I just didn't want the channel saturated with just a lot of people just coming in and just having their, just the energy that comes along with that channel. I didn't want that. So I didn't put it in the title. But yes, today, the negative cyclical energy. So that's still a thing. I've been wondering, how she's been doing, what's been going on with that. It's just kind of been an afterthought. But today I learned that it's still the same thing. It's the same thing. So I wish for better days for her and the reaction channels. Because the thing about Rose Miller, when she get in her feelings and she start coming for your channel, then I've seen reaction channels where people's channels taken down and they're fighting to get them back up. I've seen all of that. You've seen it too. So I do not miss that, dealing with that and fighting strikes and all of that. Since I left that sector and reacting to that content, I don't have those type of problems. Butterfly says, I stopped watching her content around the holidays. Yeah. So I feel like there's a good number of people who did back away. But I think at the top of the year, there were some reaction channels who tried to say that they were going to back away. They tried, but they went back to covering it, because the Queen of Kings, when you react to that content, you will get the clicks and views. And clicks and views equates to money. And I think people who said, okay, I'm not going to cover it anymore, they didn't hold to that, because the things that they were covering wasn't getting the same traction. So they went back to covering her. But the thing about covering that content and being a critic of it, it brings on problems, because she doesn't want you criticizing her. And when you criticize her, she gets in her feelings, she reacts, she creates content, and she comes for your channel through strikes. And YouTube is 3 strikes, you're out. So from what I've learned today, given that she's in her feelings and she's venting about, I'm not even naming any specific content creators, but some of the bigger ones that were, heavily talking about her last year, she's throwing out their names and things like that. And she's basically coming for their channels. And I think I heard she may be talking lawsuits. I don't know, but I know that those content creators have definitely seen better days. And many of them probably right now are wishing that they just never went back to covering her like they said they wouldn't. Because there are quite a few who said, I'm not going to cover her no more. And they continue to cover her. And now they're in the tussle. You can't be surprised when you're in the tussle with her, when you already know what it comes with when you're covering her. It's like, okay, you're willing to take that on when you choose to react to that channel. And I stopped finding it worth the clicks and the views for my own personal sanity. It just stopped being worth it for me. And I knew that when I stopped covering her, my channel would be impacted. And it was. But that's okay. It's okay. I have my second channel. It's taken off. I found other things to talk about. It's okay. That's why I haven't been over here, because I've been on the other channel building it. It takes time. It's like I say, it's trial and error, but you figure it out. And what I did know is that I did not want to go back into that space, and I don't regret it. And as I'm hearing what's taking place within that space with the fights and stuff, the threats of taking down channels, lawsuits, what this is telling me is that I made a great decision. And yeah, I was smart. Surprise, surprise. But y'all know I've always moved very differently in this space. I've moved in a way that other people didn't move in this space when it came to reacting to that content. I was very strategic about how I covered it. But I also was able to see that what my channel would be like if I continued to cover it, what kind of energy it was going to have. And I just wasn't for it. And I didn't want to take that into 2025. So I left it behind in 2024. Best decision ever. Best decision ever. And sometimes it comes down to a choice between money or your peace of mind. Because a lot of times when you choose peace of mind, you give it time, the money will end up coming. It'll be slower. It'll be slower, but you'll at least have your peace of mind. And to me, that's most important. My peace of mind, how my mentals, how I feel, like all of that is more important than money, meaning clicks and views. So what's up, Jazzy? Welcome. So when it comes to how I cover content, that's going to be first and foremost, like, what is something that I can sustain, that I can keep up, that's not going to have me feeling drained? Because I started to feel drained at the end of the year when I was covering that content. It was exhausting. And when I would try to move around to other content and talk about other things, guess what? People would come into my chat and bring up that channel and want to talk about it. So it was like a cycle. People just only was here for me when I talked about that content. And I didn't like that. I said, okay, I'm going to have to just work to build a whole new following. And even if it sacrifices my views, I got to do what I got to do, because I can't be in this space anymore. And that's why this is my first time. And now we're just in April, and we're 4 months where I have not talked about that channel, done a reaction or anything. And that's why. And I'm in a wonderful space. My second channel is doing well. Follow me over on Chic Speaks on it if you haven't seen me in a while. You're like, hey, where you been? I've been hanging out on my second channel. It's called Chic Speaks, and then add the 2 words on it. Follow me over there. I'm over there all the time. I did a live like this morning. I'm over there. It's a different type of vibe over there. It's centered around current events, politics, those heavy conversations that are being had, centered around the economy, the current administration. If you're curious to know what my thoughts are on that, check me out over there. I have a lot to say, but the energy is very different. And it's something that I feel good about doing when I do go live, because I feel like I'm uplifting, I'm building, I'm making a difference. And it's not someone walking away feeling less than or feeling like they've been torn down by something I've said. It's just completely different. You just got to get into it and check it out. When I go live, a lot of people come through. It's crazy. It's nothing like when I cover Rose content. Y'all, it's on a whole nother level with the views and the people that come through. It's a different type of energy, but it's one that I'm here for versus, the Queen of King content and the energy that it gave. I just couldn't do it anymore. Tanae says, yeah, I had to get out of that space because it was too much. A video of her and her mother-in-law conveniently popped up today. It's so funny because I was talking to my mom, and earlier, we were talking about that channel, and you know how they say these phones and things are their smartphones, and they hear your conversations and they know things. So my mother was like, she hadn't seen any of her content come up in her recommendations in a long time, because when I stopped reacting to those videos, she also, stopped, paying attention to the Queen of King content, and even, the reaction channels. And she said right after she and I hung up, she saw a video that was recommended to her for the Queen of Kings. And she just thought about me and just remember how we were just talking about it and how it popped up in her recommendation. But it be like that, where something will just kind of pop up, and it could be because you said something about it, but somehow it just pops up. So it's happened. I may end up seeing some of her stuff pop up soon, just because of today with me talking about it. But it's been a strategic, intentional effort for me to not talk about it. And what I'm seeing is that those people who have made a comment today on this live about that channel, they have also kind of had stopped following it as well. And they felt like it was just taking a toll on their mentals. I don't see how it doesn't, if you follow that content heavy like that, how it doesn't take some type of toll on you. So even with her being the content creator, if it's taking a toll on the people just watching the content, it has to be taking a toll on the actual content creator who's producing, putting out the content. So I know Rose Miller is not in a good space. I know, because I know from the content creation, the struggles, the challenges that comes from that. And then I know just from just being just a person walking, breathing on this earth, on this planet, I know just how hard it is just to live, just to survive. So when you're dealing with just life in general, and you a content creator, child, baby, that is a lot that you're having to navigate through in your day-to-day life, right? That's a lot. And most of you're just dealing with day-to-day life because you're not even a content creator. It's hard out here, to be a content creator, and especially if you're one who have controversial content like she does. And even with my content, as I talk about on my second channel, She Speaks on it, politics, current events, that can be things that are controversial. But I have awesome moderators that do a wonderful job with managing, the chat and the trolls. So that's good. So it protects my peace, so I can put out the content and not be distracted by the things that people are saying. I don't go out and listen to anything, content out there that may even be about me out there where someone's talking about me. I don't do that. So remember, everybody can talk their talk, but you do not have to respond to everyone. And that's the message for tonight, is that everything does not deserve a response. Everyone does not deserve your energy. You and that's what Rose, it seems like, I guess she's still struggling in that area to understand that. But that's life. That is life. And the longer it takes for you to figure that out, the tougher days you will have. I promise, the tougher days you will have. When I say you need to understand or learn what it is to be unbothered, you better learn it. You better learn it. You better learn what it is to be unbothered. Because if people pick up that they can ruffle your feathers and get underneath your skin, they will do it. And guess what? Now you're responding to them, and it's getting you all riled up. But if you ignore people and let them talk to themselves, you're not putting fuel into the fire. But by Rose reacting and responding to these reaction channels, she's adding fuel to the fire, so it's igniting, so it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's bringing attention to it. So it's not working in her favor. It's not working in her favor. So you gotta figure it out. And that's life. It's not even just YouTube. That's just life. Jazzy says, I agree. We need to protect ourselves from negative energy and continue to feed your spirit with the good energy. I've said it time and time again. I've said it on this channel back when I used to be on it heavy. And I say it on my second channel. You have to protect your peace. And you have to come to an understanding of what peace looks like for you. Because what peace looks like for me may not look the same for you. And protecting your peace may be something as simple as you not listening to certain content. You saying, you know what? I can't even listen to this anymore. Even if you're not even engaged in the chat, you saying, you know what? I can't even tap in. I just can't even listen to it. Because that's where I became. Not only did I stop reacting to it, I stopped listening to it in general, even to other reaction channels or people that I followed. I just stopped listening to it. And it was nothing personal against the content creator. It's just that I no longer wanted my energy to be absorbed from that type of content because it was too heavy. It was too much. I needed to move away from it. And I promise you, I've experienced much better days as a result of it. I have. I'm not arguing and fighting with anyone, any content creators. Like, I don't have anything going on, no beef, nothing going on with anyone. Nobody, strikes against my channels and things like none of that, because I didn't get my strikes. I didn't get my first strikes until I started reacting to Queen of Kings. I covered celebrity gossip for years, relationships. I covered different things on my channel, on this channel, and never had any strikes. But once I started covering Queen of Kings, it was a different type of energy that came to my channel. And it turned into something that I never intended for it to be. Now, I will say what I do miss and what I did like about that era. I enjoyed the relationships that I built from my subscribers, because people got used to coming to my channel to listen to me share and provide my opinions, my personal opinions, my professional opinions. People were here for that. So I got used to seeing you, like Tanae, I remember you. Jazzy, I think you may have been around them. Butterflies, like it was so many people that would come in to where like you all just, regularly, I would just engage with you. I was like a daily thing, sometimes maybe even multiple times a day. And so I bonded with you all. So I remember I do remember those times. And we would talk for hours and just, y'all remember them lives. And it'd be like marathons. It'd be like 4-5 hours where I would talk my talk and react to that channel. And I would always say, as long as you all show up, I'm going to show up. But I got locked into a space to where that was the only thing that people wanted to hear me talk about or react to. So that's what had me to move around and spend more time on my other channel where I wasn't known for that type of content. And so now my followers on that channel, they don't know me from that. They probably don't even know who Queen of Kings is, because it's a completely different audience. I had to reinvent. I had to just reinvent myself, like in a whole new way. Like, those people don't have a clue, like anything about what I'm talking about over here. They like, what? My audience is completely different. Like, over here, my channel is primarily like women. My other channel, is primarily like upper middle age, older, like men, because I talk politics, worldviews. They don't know who damn Queen of King is, who Rose Miller is. They like, what are you talking about? They would be so confused. But that was by design, because I knew I needed to create a whole new following where I would no longer be in this box to where I would have to just talk about that type of content. So that was by design. That was my strategy. And it wasn't overnight for me to get there to create that new following. It was just trial and error of me talking about different things. but that was how I had to do it. So because of that, I sacrificed with getting the clicks and views and the money, because at that time, when I was building that channel wasn't even monetized. But I put in the work to get it to a place to be monetized. But I wanted it to be monetized on non-Queen of King related content, because what I did not want is that same energy over on that channel as I had over here. That was the whole purpose of creating a second channel. So if anything were to happen to this channel centered around that energy, it would have no bearing on my second channel. That was why I started that channel. So follow me over there if you want to hear what I got to say, because that's where I spend the bulk of my time. I will try to come on this channel more often and to talk about things. But I don't want to get caught back in that cycle of talking about all things Queen of King related. It's probably just going to be just different, just topics. We can talk about some Queen of King things, but it's not going to be, I don't want to just have it constantly talk about that. And yeah, y'all going to probably have to tell me what's going on, because right now I am not getting back I'm not going back to just watching, watching that material and trying to understand what's going on for the sake of content. I'm not interested. You all can tell me what's going on, and I may give my opinion of it, but I'm not interested in going out there and learning for myself what's going on. I can't do it, y'all. I promise you, I just can't do it. I'm tapped out. I cannot. Jazzy says, I'm back. I also love your workout lives. Thank you, Jazzy. I haven't done a workout live probably since like November. What happened with that, I had gotten sick and it took me about a month to fully recover. It was like right around the holidays. And when I was sick, I didn't, work out. And then by me just not working out for that month, I kind of fell out of my routine with doing my live workouts. So then when I wasn't doing that, I started putting my focus on other types of content. So I just never went back to getting back into like the live workouts, because like that time that I was spending where I was doing those live workouts, I do other things in place of that, like my content on my second channel when I talk my worldviews things. I do something that's called Car Chronicles. So in the mornings and things, I do that versus like doing my live workouts. So I don't know if my live workouts will ever come back. Never say never. I have no plans as of right now to say, hey, when it is coming back. But right now, I'm trying to figure out the balance between the content that I put on each channel, something that I can sustain. Because right now, the live workouts is not really something I can sustain with the way I'm growing my second channel. Which now I've achieved the goal of, Monday will be 2 weeks since that second channel has been monetized. So now both channels are monetized. So, now they're kind of on equal playing fields. I have a little more than 1,800 subscribers on the second channel. This one, a little more than 2,300. So they're both, right almost even. So now that I finally got the second channel to do what I needed it to do, which is to be monetized, now I'm like, okay, I can come over to this channel and put some work in, because mission accomplished with the second channel. So your girl now has two monetized channel. It's been hard work, but I did it. I got the second channel monetized, and it's just really growing. It's really on pace to probably outgrow this channel with the way it's growing. But I don't want to let this channel die out either. Tanae said, the weird part is I am subscribed to your channel and had the bell notifications. And when I stopped watching Rose, your channel stopped popping up. That's crazy, but it be like that. I think with the YouTube algorithm, like I said, I truly believe YouTube pushes nonsense. And when I moved away from covering that content, my content stopped being circulated in things the way that it used to, because it's an algorithm. And like right now, it's not even a lot of people, who have come through on this, because I'm not in the algorithm like that for this channel. So I have to, again, it's trial and error, continuously come back out here on this channel to talk about whatever it is I'm going to talk about. And YouTube picks up, okay, where to kind of position me, where to push me. It has to figure it out again. So that it's going to be that. I would say for now with the notification bells, you know, hit the notification bell, like refresh it. I hear that sometimes can be a fix. Hopefully, I'll start to pop up. But some people have been wondering if they just been missing notifications. I really haven't been out here, so it ain't like really been missing any notifications for this channel, because I haven't probably been on this channel in, I think the last video I did was on DDG and Haley Bailey, and that was maybe a month ago. And I hadn't been back out here on that. So I went back to being on my second channel. So if you haven't been getting a notification for this channel, that's because I haven't been put out nothing. So it wasn't nothing to notify you for. But I'm going to try to be, you know, more consistent and conscious with coming out here on this channel and putting out content about just other things, you know, outside of the political realm of what's going on, so I can talk to you all about those things over here, because I don't want this to be politics centered like my other channel. I want to kind of have two different energies going on between the two different channels. Tanae said, but it's good to reinvent yourself because Rose's channel will lead you into a dead end. Yes, yes, yes. It's good to reinvent yourself. And yes, that channel can lead you to a dead end. It's probably done the same thing for her, where her channel has even led her into a dead end, because now it's centered around drama and chaos. There's no other family channel. When I left off of, you know, looking at those, what do you call her? She's the mommy sector. There was no other channel giving the type of energy to me that I was seeing that her channel was giving. And it was a family channel. But when you watch it, it was like nothing about it that was giving wholesome family. So a lot of people had opinions about that. But I think to her own doing, her channel is what it is. And I think she even has to reinvent herself, meaning go back to the drawing board to what type of things she chooses to show on her channel. So a lot of times when we're going through things, we have more control than what we believe we have. And Rose has more control than what she believes. It's going to start with her changing the type of content that she's putting out there. Hey, Bailey. It's going to start with her changing the type of content that she's putting out there. So therefore, people will start to see her in a different way. They're going to start reacting to just whatever the newness. Bailey about to knock over. Okay, Bailey be acting like she a doggone toy with them little lap dogs. Y'all see how big she is. She just come Bogarting. Child, Bailey, you bigger than all the dogs of the land. Bailey be moving like she a little poodle. So Rose is going to have to reinvent herself. And that's anybody, even other reaction channels. If you tired of just going having that back and forth, you're going to have to just get in this space where you be like, you know what? I got to move. I got to switch it up. This right here just, it ain't good for my spirit, for my soul. Bailey is big. Big baby Bailey. Big as she is. But she moved like she about this small. She wasn't even that small when I got her. So, Jazzy, you said my sound is going in and out. Can y'all hear me okay? Jazzy says, yeah, you're right. That was one positive thing. I found you. I love your energy. Yes, like you have to reinvent yourself. And when you choose to reinvent yourself, a lot of times in the beginning, you will take a hit financially. But it doesn't mean that down the line that you cannot be rewarded financially either. What it's just saying is that right now, because you're reinventing yourself and people are getting to know the new you, it's going to be slower to get maybe back to maybe where you were. And sometimes you can surpass where you were. Because as I talk about reinventing myself, on my second channel, from a view standpoint, I've surpassed for views. I get far more views on that channel than this channel that I ever have on this channel. So by me reinventing myself, it turned out to be a win to the extent of just numbers wise with my subscribers, how big I'm growing, the people I'm reaching, it's far greater than I ever, performed with talking about my Queen of Kings content. Um, Purpose Driven says, you look very healthy. God bless. Thank you so much. So reinventing myself turned out to be a win for me, from the mentals and the emotionals, and just for just the growth of my YouTube channel. I have an entirely different, following, and people follow me because of just the positive messaging that I put out there, and the hope that I give as it pertains to the things going on in the world. And that's good for me. But I do miss over here just the relationships that I built, the bonding that I had as a result of the community within the reaction sector, from covering the Queen of King content hard for like 5 months. So I got used to seeing the same people kind of show up. I had really a solid following. So most of the people in my chat, it would be like people I came to recognize that constantly came through. On my second channel, even though I'll have thousands of people come through, they're new people and I don't know them. So I don't recognize them like I recognize you over here, because they're new and I have a far greater reach and I'm reaching this different audience. So, I don't feel as connected to them. There's a couple I'm starting to kind of get to know, but I don't feel as connected. But on the other flip side, I feel like I'm having a more positive impact on these people because of my message. I'm coming to them from a place of hope, as they navigate through all of the climate with what's going on with the politics, with the economy and things like that. I'm helping them to manage, with the mental health and all of that. So check me out over there just to see, what the vibe is. It's very different. I welcome you to follow me over there, but that's how I've reinvented myself, and it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good. So over on this channel, I don't know if it's really centered around reinvent myself so much. Maybe a little bit, reinventing myself to show that I'm bigger than reacting to Queen of King content. But I just got to feel my way out in this arena when it comes to just talking about things and reacting to things. Because, yeah, I just got to get back out there and circulate in the algorithm. So that's what's going to help with that is you all tapping in, making sure you're liking the video, subscribing, so you know when I go live, watching the content. What makes a difference is when you all come through, how long you stick around. That's a big deal when it comes to content creation and what drives our success. From a monetary standpoint, it's like, how long are you all engaging with me when I do go live? I notice you all prefer lives versus pre-records. I prefer a live, but I like to interact and engage with you all. You can't do that when you do the pre-record. So I enjoy going live, and I come to see with both channels, my followers enjoy me going live as well. So when I have dropped my content, get in the comments, whether it's in the live or after I've, dropped it and you missed the live, be a part of the replay gang. I like to, comment on the videos. Let me know if there is anything in particular that you would like for me to react to or give my opinion to. But yeah, so remember, I'm toggling between the two channels. So if I may not see your channel, your comment right away, because if I'm on my phone, I have to kind of go between the different program profiles. So I have to I play the switcheroo game between my two channels. But mostly I'm on my other channel, so I'm not even seeing a lot what's going on this channel. But leave a comment anyway, because sometimes I'll jump over here just to see if there's any movement over here with people dropping me comments. But I haven't been doing it a lot lately because there really hadn't been a lot for you to drop comments for, since I haven't been putting out content like that. But I'm going to try to get better with that, with putting out content also on this channel. But you all have to let me know what type of things would you like for me to talk about on this channel. I'm open. I'm open, so y'all just let me know. Jazzy said sound is going in. Okay, so hopefully we fix that with the sound. But yeah, let me know, y'all. It's a lot going on. I be still tapped in and seeing, things that's going on. I just hadn't been, coming out here reacting, doing content centered around it, because it's just a lot of nonsense that's going on. I'm like, people got real problems. People trying to work, have jobs, put food on the table, take care of their kids, get to work. And it's just a lot of foolishness that's going on out here on the internet, where people fighting over things that, to me, it doesn't even matter. So it's been hard for me to come out here and cover nonsense and things that just really just don't even matter. It's been really hard. So that's why if I do come out here, I have to find some type of meaning to make it make sense for me to come out here and to talk about it. Because if it's some nonsense, like, I'm sorry, y'all, I just can't. Listen, I just can't. I cannot. But I've seen, like I said, I've tapped into a couple of good interviews, like I said, with Terrence Howard on the Valuetainment channel, and then Damon Wayans on the Club Shay Shay podcast. I saw some clips from those two interviews that was really good. So maybe I'll do more of that, where I'll come out here and react to maybe some interviews that I've seen that I was, felt like there was some gems in there that I wanted to share with you all, like I did in this live. If you came in late, be a part of Replay Gang, check it out. I started out, I had another live going and I had some technical problems, so I had to end that live and start up a new live. So there's 2 lives for today. Tap into both lives, leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, pertaining to anything that I've discussed tonight, whether it be Terrence Howard, Damon Wayans, or even Rose Miller, the Queen of King brands, the reaction channels, whatever your thoughts are surrounding anything that's going on with any of those people, content creators, anyone. Just, put the comment, drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I may be back to pick back up and engage more and elaborate more on conversations centered around those said people, if you want to go deeper into conversation, because it is a lot going on just in this industry with the celebrities. You got Kanye West out here wilding, telling all of the Carter's business, Jay-Z and Beyonce, talking about their kids. Like, it is a lot going on. It's a lot going on. And I'm like, child, like, you got people out here who just trying to keep their job and trying to learn, if whether or not they going to have a job by the end of the week. So but you do got the celebrities out here with their shenanigans. And I understand sometimes y'all want to be, y'all want to talk about it. Y'all want to talk about the shenanigans. Tanae says, make sure you hit the like button. Good night, y'all. Thank you so much, Tanae. Please, please hit the like button as you come in and on your way out. I like to leave you all with saying, go out into the world and show up in a way in which you want others to show up for you. Like attracts like. When you give off good energy, guess what? You will attract that. And that's what I'm living today. I'm giving off good energy, and that's what I've been attracting. So that's why I ain't got all these problems that a lot of people out here, that a lot of them have, because like attracts like, and it's the energy that I'm giving off, that I'm moving with, and it makes a difference. Try it. Any of you who are going through it, try to adjust how you're moving, because we have more control than what we think we have. Just try moving differently and see if you then get a different response. Just give it a try. Love on yourselves and one another, heavy on the loving on yourself. So many of us are out here taking care of everyone, but neglecting ourselves, and no one's checking in on us. I'll let you know also, I have some mental health products on Amazon. You can find those, the links for those items. I think I've posted it on my community page. It might be the last post on my community page There are some links to my products for on Amazon. I have adult coloring books for mental health, for stress, anxiety, things like that. I have journals, notebooks. So these products are geared towards both adults and children. So if you're interested in any of that, my products range from a price range of $5.99 to $7.99, and they're all on Prime. So very, very, very affordable. If you are interested in any of those products for yourself, or if someone else you may have in mind for them, check them out. Leave me a review. I published those products this year. So that was a new thing that I've done this year in my whole era of just being focused on having, giving off positive energy. That is something that I decided to do as a way to give back and help out with the community, was create products. Thank you so much. Dr. J says support the channel, super stickers, super chats, gifts, whatever. Yes. When you super chats, obviously I may say put some color in this chat. Your comment will come up in color and I can see it and prioritize it and read it out loud. Thank you so much for all the support. But yes, if you're interested in any of my mental health products, definitely check them out. You can find the links on my community page, and I may, start to also put them in the description on these videos as well, like I do on my second channel. She speaks on it. So yes, it's just all about positive energy, positive vibes over here on this channel. And if you do have opinions about other content creators, celebrities, whatever, you're welcome to talk your talk. It's just about being respectful with it. That's all I ask, and my moderators, the directive is, hey, as long as someone being respectful, meaning not being disrespectful to me, my moderators, or even just people just in the chat being a distraction, then you can stick around. But if you break those rules, then that's when you got to go. So y'all know the routine. We are the honor students, no different. We believe in elevating over here. Like, that's all we know. We don't know nothing else. We elevate. That's what smart people do. We ask questions. We seek out answers. We are not easy led. Like, we lead. That's what we do as honor students. Still, listen, we're just in a new year, a new month. Y'all, nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. So stay tuned. I will be back with additional content. I don't know when exactly. It's spring break here for me, going into this upcoming week. So I will be with the family. So just tap in and just see when I may pop up. I may do some scheduled shows, or I may just impromptu do a live like I did tonight. So refresh the notification bell so you'll know when I go live. Remember, I'm not in the algorithm like that anymore. So I have to kind of get back to circulating. So some of you may miss some of the lives in the beginning. Thank you so much, Protect. You said, glad I found you again. I'm glad you did too. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, each and every one of you. So I look forward to coming back here and tapping in with you all more. And yeah, we just gonna get to things. Listen, it's a lot going on. It's always something to talk about. I will say it's always something to talk about. It's just going to be a matter of, okay, what I'm going to choose to put my energy towards. We got to be selective about this type of stuff, y'all. We really do, because it makes a difference. We have to be selective. So it's about just making it make sense. Make it make sense. So that's what we're going to do over here. We're going to make it make sense, and we're going to uplift one another. So please like the video on your way out. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm Chic. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I'll catch you on the next broadcast. Peace.